everybody! I'm here today to talk to you about 7 reasons why your car engine is sputtering. There are many things that can cause your car engine to sputter, and sputtering is something that you definitely don't want to see in terms of your car engine. So these are 7 things that you can look into with regards to a sputtering car engine. Okay, now it's a weird word, sputtering, but definitely if you feel your engine sputtering, sort of like putting along the road, then look into these things. Number 1, an exhaust manifold leak. If your car engine has an exhaust manifold leak, that's a pretty big problem, because exhaust is not something that you want to be leaking anywhere. You want it to make its way fully through the engine. But if it does have a leak, then that means the airflow will be changed and restricted in certain ways, and that is actually going to cause the engine potentially to sputter. Number 2 is bad spark plugs. Now your spark plugs produce the spark for the engine. Okay, they get electricity from the electrical components that are related to the engine, and they produce a spark, and that spark is required to combust and make those pistons move and make the engine work. Now, if your spark plugs or even one spark plug is bad, it's going to cause misfiring, which will cause a sputtering kind of feeling where the cylinders are not going to be working properly and the pistons are not going to be working properly, okay? So, you know, if you look into your spark plugs, if you notice that your engine is sputtering, the good thing is spark plugs are easy to replace and cheap as well. So rather inexpensive compared to other car repairs, okay? So definitely a good thing. Number 3, worn gaskets and seals. So if you notice that your car is sputtering, you want to maybe look into the condition of the various gaskets and seals. Now, gaskets and seals themselves are really cheap to purchase, but they're usually expensive to replace in terms of labor, because something like a blown head gasket, for instance, you got to take the whole engine apart to replace it. So the head gasket is so cheap, but to replace it is like a crazy amount of money in labor costs. So look into the condition of the gaskets and seals. If your car is older, this is definitely something you want to look into. I'm not saying to like take anything apart, but just try to do all of the necessary diagnosis to see if that might be the problem. Okay. Number 4, a bad catalytic converter. Now, the catalytic converter is very important because it takes your exhaust gases and it sort of contains the emissions, so that when your car actually lets out the exhaust, that the emissions aren't as bad for the environment. It controls the emissions of the car. If your catalytic converter is bad, it's going to change the way that the air flows out of the car, and that might cause an engine to sputter. Sorry about that. I just put on my finger to say, hold on. I just drank a whole bunch of coffee before I started making this video, and I went down the wrong way, as they say. But a bad catalytic converter is something that you should replace, because if it causes your engine to sputter, that's one reason why. But in addition, it's just, you want to be, you know, polite to the environment. So yeah, you should get it replaced ASAP, as soon as possible. Number 5, bad O2 or oxygen sensors. O2 sensors are just oxygen sensors. They sense the amount of air that is required and that is going in towards the engine, basically. They control the air that is going in towards the engine. If your O2 sensors are bad, then they're not going to send the right amount of air to the engine, which is going to change the way that the combustion happens. If your engine has too much air in it, then it's going to in change likely have too little gas, which is what we like to call running lean. If you're running rich, you have too much gas being combusted. If you're running lean, you have too much air being combusted. So it's going to cause your car to run lean, which will cause your car to sputter. It's not going to get the right balance of fuel and air and spark to sort of make everything work properly. Number 6, bad or dirty mass airflow sensor. So a bad or dirty mass airflow sensor. Now, you want to look into this simply because they're easy to clean and super easy to replace. And like I said, it controls the oxygen as well, similar to number 5. They do similar things basically, but if your air sensors, whether it's an oxygen or an MAF sensor, mass airflow sensor, your O2 sensor, your MAF sensors, whatever the situation is, they're going to change the way that the air gets to the engine. That's going to potentially cause it to sputter. I don't want to go into the mechanics of it, and I'm not like a professional, so I don't feel comfortable telling you about these sensors and how they specifically fully operate, because, like I said, I'm not a professional. So I do know, though, that if they change the airflow to the engine, that's going to cause your engine to potentially sputter. Number 7, dirty fuel injectors. Now, like I said, if your fuel injectors are dirty, they're not going to be able to send the proper amount of gas to the engine. And if they're not able to send the proper amount of gas to the engine, well, guess what's going to happen? The combustion process is going to be altered. It'll cause your engine to potentially sputter. So basically, you know, I've gone over many things, but if any part of the combustion or airflow process is altered, airflow in or airflow out, and the combustion in the engine, if any part is altered, it could cause your engine to sputter. And that's what it comes down to. Those are 7 reasons why your car might be sputtering, and 7 things to sort of look into, because you want to hopefully fix the problem. Because driving with a sputtering engine, it's happened to me before, it's not fun at all. Your car becomes so unreliable, so uncomfortable, and potentially even unsafe. So get it fixed as soon as possible. That's it. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.